whip, bought it, whip, got it.
Hi guys. So if you're new here, welcome, and if you are a returning subscriber, welcome back. It's living with late, and today we're going to be doing like a school-based video, and I'm just gonna be talking about a few things that I wish I knew before starting grad school. School season's about to be starting up, and well, some people have already started, but for people who are like from the Northeast, we usually start like after Labor Day, and that's basically right around the corner, if not already starting by the time this video goes up. So I know it can feel really daunting, especially for first generation students. So I thought that it would be good to make this video, especially because this is something that I would have liked to watch when I was preparing for grad school this time last year. It just felt like the right thing to do. So now that I've been in grad school for a year, I felt like the right time to just go over a few things that I wish I knew when I started. So I mean, that's really it, and we can really just hop onto the video. The first thing that I wish I knew was that funding is available. While I'm not going to sit here and say like, okay, it's easy, because it definitely isn't, but it can seem like when trying to find funding, specifically for master's programs, it can seem like a lot of the ones that you're going to come across are only for PhD students or doctorate students, but that's not always the case. I would definitely recommend looking out for assistantships, different programs that are both inside and outside of your school that will help to pay for your education while you are completing it. Sometimes it's in exchange for, say, volunteering as a teacher or volunteering in your local communities, things like that. Federal work study is still a thing when you're in grad school, which is super helpful. I'm not sure if this is a teachers college specific thing or if this is at other schools as well, but our school also has something called an administrative fellow, and that's basically a position where you get paid the same hourly rate as federal work study, but the only difference is that you also get 3 term credits per semester as well, like taken off of your bill for working. So it's like a 2-in-1 because you get to work and have the money, but then you also get 3 credits basically for free. Of course, those jobs are going to be a little bit more competitive in terms of applying because everyone wants those, but they do exist. And when people start graduating at the end of the year, of course, more positions like that open up. So it's super convenient to be looking like around graduation time flowing into the summer. There's also being a TA, which is a teacher's assistant, a CA, which is a course assistant, RA, which is a research assistant. There's so many different opportunities that can fall both under federal work study and just as a regular job on campus. Also, scholarships do exist in the graduate world. It depends from school to school based on if it's just going to be a 1-year scholarship, if it will be offered for the entirety of your education at that specific institution or whatever the case may be, but those scholarships do exist. I've seen ones that are based both on merit and ones that are also based on need. So the best bet would definitely to go to your school's kind of like scholarship or financial aid page, and they should have that all lined out. But if not, do not hesitate to email financial aid. If you're local in the area, even better, go visit them in person. But if not, call, email, do what you gotta do, ask the questions you need to ask, because don't let anyone play with your money. Okay, second thing, which is kind of similar, only in the sense of it has to do with money. I feel like a lot of like the deals that like college students can get seem like they're marketed towards only undergraduate students, but that is far from the truth. As long as you have an email from your institution that ends in like the .edu, you are still eligible to get like different deals like student beans, Apple Music's for students, things like that you're still eligible for. And then on top of that, usually like different transportation, like I know NJ Transit has a student pass. I don't think New York Transit does anymore, but I know NJ Transit does. So if you're in a different state, like definitely check that out because they might have a student pass that's less than what the average adult like weekly or monthly pass maybe for you. And then I know sometimes the schools themselves will give you guys deals. I know for teacher college specifically, we have things like we get New York Times for free. We just have to log in with our EDU email. And then I also know that like when it comes to like Broadway shows, museums, things like that, we either get discounted or free tickets like that. Those are just a few examples of like the different ways that you can use your student status to still get deals even as a grad student. Don't just think that it's only for undergraduates. Don't count yourself out. Grad students are included. The third thing I would say is that the imposter syndrome won't go away right away. In undergrad, it felt very easy as a first generation student to have the imposter syndrome, especially when navigating things that it felt like some of my classmates didn't really struggle with, or kind of just like trying to find my footing all 4 years when it came to different like hurdles and stuff. And it was very easy to be like, oh my gosh, like to think when I was graduating, like, okay, I'm gonna go off to an Ivy League school. Like I've really done the best that I could these 4 years. Like I've now proven to myself that I'm, you know, I'm good enough. Like this is great. And even when you step foot on your first day, that imposter syndrome, if it pops up, I wouldn't be surprised. I feel like it's kind of inevitable in a way, and it did cause me to be nervous a little bit when I was first going into grad school, and it kind of caused me to go through the process of talking myself out of the imposter syndrome the same way I did for undergrad, and kind of reminding myself that I deserve to be in the space that I am. I deserve to take up the space that I'm taking up, and basically like I work to be where I am. I really just had to tell myself and work through those steps again, of making sure that I remembered that I am exactly where I was supposed to be. I'm not gonna lie and sit here and say like, oh, like, yeah.
Once I worked through that, like, it just went away completely.
There are still some days where I still struggle with that, but it gets easier as time goes on. So it's just a reminder that if you feel that starting grad school, if you feel that feeling of imposter syndrome again, after thinking it was gonna be gone after undergrad, just know it will go away and you will get through that moment. Fourth thing that I wish I knew is that clubs and organizations and stuff, they're still gonna be just as active in grad school as they are in undergrad. I guess because with grad school, it's very common for people to come from all walks of life. So you'll have people that come straight from undergrad and then jump into grad school, but then you'll also have people who have went and worked in the job field for 10, 20, 30 years and then decided they wanted to have a career change, or this is what they always wanted to do, but they were waiting for the right moment. There's all these different scenarios in which these people decide to come to grad school, and it's such like people from all walks of life. And I guess because of that, I just assumed like, oh, like clubs aren't really gonna be like something that's common in grad school. I didn't think that was something where, okay, like people like we're gonna have like bi-weekly meetings and club events and things like that. I just wasn't expecting that to happen. So when I walked in and I realized that we had like, our school specifically, I think we have over like 50 student orgs, and I just wasn't expecting that. And thus because of that, I wasn't even beginning to plan ahead of like, okay, how am I gonna fit extracurriculars into my schedule? One thing I just want to make sure everyone remembers is that those are definitely going to be an option for you. Don't count those out. Don't think that if you missed out in undergrad, you won't get the opportunity to do it now. They are there and they are waiting for you. The next thing that I wish I knew was that don't let the perception of the way your schedule looks fool you. Now let me preface. In undergrad at Rutgers, most of the time, your classes are either gonna be one of two ways. You're gonna have them twice a week, and each class would be an hour and 20 minutes long, or you'd have them once a week for, I believe, 3 hours. So when I was getting my classes all kind of like settled in for teachers college, and I saw that we only had class once a week for an hour and 40 minutes, so little me, I was like, oh, that means that like the workload is going to be so much easier for me, and because like I'm going to get my higher degree in like what I want to pursue as my career, like this is going to be so much easier, like this is great. It was all a lie, okay? Don't let that fool you. I know not all schools are going to have that type of like schedule set up, but for the ones that do, don't let it fool you. It is going to be the same caliber and then some, so don't underestimate it. But then also on that same note, that kind of leads me into my next point of prioritize scheduling. Not everyone works with scheduling the same way. Some people prefer to write it down in a planner. Some people prefer an iPad. Some people prefer a Google Calendar. Some people prefer to write every single thing in the calendar, and other people just like to put like the big things like work, class, club,
bus, club, another club, plane, next place, no sleep.
Like, and kind of just leave empty spaces like that. If you haven't figured out which way works best for you in undergrad, definitely take this time to figure that out for grad school. It will help you times 1,000. My favorite things to use would be GoodNotes, Google Calendar, and Notion. Those are my 3 top apps or like platforms to use that help to keep me organized. I can make a more in-depth video about that if you guys want, in terms of how I use all 3 of those to kind of keep me in line and keep me on a good schedule for class, work, and like everything else. I guess the last one would be not so things I wish I knew, but just a reminder, and that would be to celebrate myself. And I guess this kind of relates back to the imposter syndrome. I feel like in grad school, it's a lot easier to hear about your classmates doing really like extravagant things because of the caliber of degree that we're getting, especially in terms of like research and presentations and things like that. It's so important to remember to celebrate your wins, both big and small. Everything that you do is worth celebrating. It can be as small as having positive self-talk, giving yourself a treat at the end of the week, like your favorite drink, or buying a new book. Little things like that really help to motivate not only yourself, but like subconsciously train your mind to be like, what I'm doing matters. What I'm doing is good. Small things, big things, it doesn't matter. Everything I do has purpose and it has meaning and it's worth celebrating. Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's actually a good place to leave off on. But yeah, those are my 5 or 6 things that I wish I knew before starting grad school. I could probably make another video with like 5 more things that I wish I knew, because when it comes to grad school, it can really feel like a whole different ball game, and until you find your footing, it can feel really overwhelming. Just a reminder that everything will be okay. You are meant to be exactly where you are. So yeah, that's really all I have for this video. If you enjoyed, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.
Did I ever ask you to take me to go shopping in Paris or go sailing overseas and just drape me in?